Out Holland closer to 20 on the outbound side, but again, you've got options. Inbound no more than 10 minutes. Eastbound LI loads up through Queens. Not awful, just sluggish. Eastbound Grand Central does better, especially east of Kew Gardens, and the belt just a little slow getting over to Sunrise Highway. Traffic sponsored by Burlington Store. Save big on Easter looks. The whole family will love at your Burlington Store. Dresses for ladies and girls, sport coats and polos for the guys from your favorite brands. Hurry in and find more to love. Burlington, love the savings. I'm Greg Rice on 1010 Winds.
Now the 1010 Winds AccuWeather 4-day forecast. Here's meteorologist Dave Bowers.
Well, it's going to be mostly sunny now here for the rest of the afternoon. Rather windy, mild. We'll top out in the upper 60s, clear, brisk. A little chillier tonight, getting to 40 in Midtown, upper 30s in many of the suburbs. And then a little cooler weather for the weekend, but it is going to be dry. High pressure coming out of the Ohio Valley will provide us sunshine tomorrow. Kind of breezy with a high about 54. Sunday starting off with clouds, but turning sunny and a high of 50. And a chilly day Monday, partly sunny and 44, and then we'll get back into the 50s on Tuesday. We're at 63 in Central Park, partly sunny with the southwest wind at 17. Repeating the current temperature 63, going up to 68 in Midtown. I'm meteorologist Dave Bowers on New York's weather station, 1010 Winds.
Winds news time 2:53. Amid the coronavirus crisis, not only are seniors more vulnerable to getting sick, they're also experiencing other issues as well.
Phones are ringing more here at Long Island Cares.
They are calling us.
CEO Paul Pachter says people are relying on them more, especially seniors and the most vulnerable to the coronavirus. He says there are also people calling in panic.
People can't find food in the supermarkets. They can't buy tissues. They can't buy hand sanitizer.
And this is keeping his volunteers busy making more deliveries. Other people like Mary and Jackaloni in Queens are helping by checking in with seniors during this crisis.
I think people like to know that other people care. Whether they utilize your offer or not, they like to know that you care.
Darius Rancy, 1010 Winds News.
The coronavirus is now affecting the 2020 race. Louisiana is moving to postpone its primary. If that happens, they would be the first in the nation to do so. Well, the candidates are finding alternate ways to campaign, and they can thank technology for that. Here's correspondent Ryan Burrow.
Former Vice President Joe Biden saying this week the country must change its behavior as a society while it works to resist and combat coronavirus. He canceled his rally in Cleveland earlier this week.
We're also reimagining the format for large crowd events we had planned in Chicago and Miami in the coming days. And we'll continue to assess and adjust how we conduct our campaign as we move forward.
He scrapped his fundraiser and rally scheduled for Friday in Chicago. Instead, is holding a virtual town hall for Illinois residents, taking place Friday afternoon on his campaign website.
Sunday night, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders will debate on CNN. That will air without a studio audience starting at 8 o'clock. Arizona, Florida, Illinois, and Ohio all vote on Tuesday. 63 degrees now, partly sunny skies, going down to 40 in Central Park. Winds news time 2:55.
It's bold. It's beautiful. I'm talking about the blue CertaPro Painters use to brighten up my home. Bridget Quinn here. Take it from me. CertaPro Painters are prompt, neat, and ready to take care of any cracking, peeling, or chipping paint on the exterior of your home. So I recommend getting a free estimate at CertaPro.com. Certa with a C. Refresh and protect your home. Get on CertaPro's spring painting schedule today. That's CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters. We do painting, you do life.
An important message from Hackensack Meridian Health to New Jersey residents. If you suspect you've been exposed to coronavirus or are experiencing flu-like symptoms, you can now have a video visit with a board-certified physician within 15 minutes without leaving home, reducing further exposure to illness. Visit convenientcarenow.com. For a limited time, video visits are just $20. Use promo code HMH20. Hackensack Meridian Health.
Now, Bloomberg Money Watch. Here's Andrew O'Day.
As people are told to avoid large spaces where many gather, the operator of one such place says it's going to remain business as usual. The New York Stock Exchange says this afternoon its iconic trading floor at 11 Wall Street will stay open, even amid coronavirus, and even as other exchanges, such as the Chicago Mercantile and Chicago Board Options exchanges, closed their floors to trading. Stocks jumped about 4% at the opening bell, but the gains were pared back after that. Right now, we're up about 3 to 3.5%. Dow gaining 765, NASDAQ up 222, S&P 500 rising 83. We will remain technically in a bear market until the gains extend above previous record highs, so we're likely to be in a bear for a while. Slumping demand in the face of the pandemic has some New York hotels on the brink. Some see a 70% drop in a key indicator that tracks occupancy and pricing. Local industry group says some hotels may close in coming weeks. Bloomberg Money Watch at 26 and 56 past every hour. I'm Andrew O'Day for 1010 Wins.
Paid for by loose debts. Did you know that the average American household owes over $16,000 in credit card debt? These credit card companies try to lure you in with low starting rates or tons of airline points just to jack up the interest rates after a few months. Before you know it, you're in over your head and struggling to make the minimum payments. It's important to know you're not alone. Loose Debts has helped thousands of good people just like you avoid the expensive and lengthy bankruptcy process. With our debt reset program, your debt can be reduced by more than half, and all future interest will be eliminated, making you debt-free in as little as 24 months. This is not a loan, and unlike other companies, we do not charge upfront fees or out-of-pocket expenses. Best of all, we provide a 100% money-back guarantee. What are you waiting for? Speak to our agents today at 800-799-7780. That's 800-799-7780. Quit losing sleep over your debt payments. Call us for help. 800-799-7780. Again, 800-799-7780.
Family is big around here. We're family-owned, family-operated, family-managed. And that means legacy. That means dependability. That means using Grainger. With over 1.5 million products and knowledgeable product experts, Grainger has whatever we need. And with same-day pickup and next-day delivery options, they have it whenever we need it. For over 90 years, businesses like ours have trusted Grainger. Because, like family, Grainger's got our back. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What's in store this week at your local Staples?
A smart investment for your business.
Right now at Staples, you can earn 30% back in rewards when you buy $75 of ink or $200 of toner.
So you stock up on ink and earn big rewards that can come in handy for your business.
But hurry, this 30% back in rewards offer is good this week only.
Staples, where there's a whole lot more in store.
Ends 3/14/20. Exclusions apply. See store or staples.com/30 in rewards for details. WINS, WINS-HD, WAWHD3 New York.
A radio.com station.
Winds News Time 2:59. Here's your 1010 Winds AccuWeather forecast. Clouds giving way to sun for the rest of the afternoon. We could get up to 68 and then clear, breezy, chilly tonight down to 40 degrees. For tomorrow, sun mixing with some clouds, breezy and cooler, the high 54. On Sunday, sunshine, 50 degrees. On Monday, AccuWeather says sun and clouds and chilly, 44 the high. Could see some rain Monday night. Then on Tuesday, more rain in the forecast, temps back in the 50s. It is 66 now in Hackensack, 70 on Staten Island, 63 partly sunny in Central Park. The humidity is 72%, and we're headed down to 40 degrees tonight. More people get their news from 1010 Winds than from any other radio station in the nation. Michael Barry's our service aide. Carol Noonan is the writer. Walter Geis is at the editor's desk. I'm Susan Richard.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Winds. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good afternoon. It's 63 degrees, 3 o'clock. I'm Larry Cantor, and here's what's happening. President Trump discusses coronavirus this hour. You'll hear him live here on 1010 Winds. City Council Speaker Corey Johnson says it's time to close New York City schools.
It's a painful decision. It's not an easy decision because there are a lot of variables at play.
So far, the mayor is keeping them open. Governor Cuomo helps open the state's first drive-through coronavirus testing center. New York City libraries are off limits for the rest of the month. 1010 Winds AccuWeather. Sunny this afternoon. We'll see clear skies tonight, an overnight low of 40.
This is John Micko. Due to the coronavirus concerns, the Augusta National Golf Club postpones the Masters. The Masters joins a long list of sporting events that will not take place as scheduled.
This is Andrew O'Day at Bloomberg. Stocks up, now rising 853 now. Grubhub will waive commissions it gets from now struggling independent restaurants for its delivery services.
Twins News Time, 3:01. From the 1010 Winds Traffic Center, here's Greg Rice.
Well, we're starting to see some traffic out there, which could be a good sign depending on how you look at it. Eastbound LI at Fitz, slow from right off of the BQE over to the Clearview. Eastbound Grand Central, it's not nearly as bad as it usually is, but still slow from Jewel Avenue through Kew Gardens and at least as far as Francis Lewis Boulevard. Eastbound belt backs up only from the Van Wyck over to Sunrise Highway. Just getting word of this on the 1010 Winds tip line. Joey tells me that North End FDR Drive getting up towards 42nd Street right near the UN. You got a 3-car crash, and that has the right lane knocked out. Inbound Gowanus looks like we might have trouble just before the Prospect. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Inbound George could go to the upper and lower Cross Bronx. Deegan and now Harlem River Drive the worst of it out. West Side the best of it. Lincoln's about 10 either way. Holland 10 in, 20 out. Brooklyn bound Brooklyn Bridge. City bound Queensboro upper level also slow. Traffic sponsored by Weedesign NY. Are you a commercial real estate landlord or broker for the highest quality turnkey office space design? You must consider Weedesign NY for your next build out. Their in-house team will take any space and gut it, design it, build it, and furnish it. To see their latest work, visit WeDesignNY.com. I'm Greg Rice on 1010 Winds.
We are expecting a briefing from President Trump at any moment about coronavirus, and when he speaks, you'll hear him live right here on 1010 Winds. He is expected to declare a national emergency and clear the way for more federal aid to state and local governments. Governor Cuomo gave us his daily coronavirus briefing this afternoon and ran down the latest numbers.
The number of cases, current total 421. We've gone up 96. New York City, you can see, went up 59 cases to a total of 154. Westchester went up 10 to 158.
Earlier in the day, the governor was in New Rochelle, the opening of the state's first drive-through coronavirus testing center.
Drive-through testing means people in this community can call a telephone number, make an appointment, and they can come to be tested and literally drive through the testing facilities. There are 6 lanes that are operating.
He says the center can test up to 200 people a day. This is for New Rochelle residents only, and you must call for a reservation. Los Angeles is closing down its school system to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Here in New York, schools remain open, but City Council Speaker Corey Johnson thinks that's the wrong approach.
We need to come up with a plan, whether it is a summer school-like program where you open up a select number of schools in the borough for kids who work for healthcare workers or MTA employees or other folks. We need a plan on how we're going to feed children if ultimately this decision gets made. So many young people rely on our schools for food every single day.
He tells 1010 Winds a more aggressive response now will save lives. The president of the United Federation of Teachers, Michael Mulgrew, agrees with Johnson. The Catholic Diocese of Brooklyn says its schools will be closed next week. Monsignor Jamie Gigantiello tells 1010 Winds that'll buy them some time.
We want to evaluate the situation and see how this virus progresses to see, what the next steps will be. But obviously we're going to, definitely evaluate it at the end of the week.
The Success Academy's charter schools will close their classrooms and shift to distance learning. A number of sports events and theaters are closed to prevent the spread of the virus, and in New Jersey, Catholics in the Archdiocese of Newark are being told to skip Mass.
Even in the midst of Lent, fears of large gatherings with the coronavirus means that the 1.6 million Catholics in this archdiocese not obligated to attend Masses this weekend. In fact, Sundays canceled until further notice. Janet didn't know.
Oh my God, I can't go to church this weekend because I can't go any other time but Saturday night, which is my time to go.
Are you surprised they took this step? It's during Lent.
People need somewhere to go. They need their faith. They need to pray now more than ever.
One woman leading Mass here told me she's going to light a candle in prayer for all of us in the New York area. We'll take it. Glenn Schuck, 1010 Winds, here at St. Luke's in Hohokus.
Checking AccuWeather, increasingly windy. Clouds giving way. We'll see mostly sunny skies the rest of the afternoon. A high 68. Clear and breezy tonight, a low 40. Tomorrow, sun with some afternoon clouds and a high 54. Sunday, sunny and 50. It's 63 degrees. Skies are partly sunny. Humidity 72%. Repeating the current temperature, 63. We're heading down to 46. Winds news time 3:06. Add New York City libraries to the list of closures due to coronavirus. An official statement issued this afternoon said that all New York public library locations will be closed to the public beginning tomorrow and lasting to at least Tuesday, March 31st. That impacts 92 branch and research libraries in Manhattan, the Bronx, and Staten Island. The library system will continue to offer access to e-books and digital resources. For updates on the closure and more information, you can go to nypl.org/coronavirus. The virus has prompted red warning posters to go up at state courts around New York, including housing courts. They advise people to stay away if they have flu-like symptoms and explain that people may be able to delay court dates with a phone call. Chief Administrative Judge Lawrence Marks says judges have been advised to be lenient about postponements and to consider using video and phone conferencing. The problem in housing court, though, is that many of those coming in are tenants fighting eviction. All the telecommuting going on is expected to slow the progression of coronavirus, but it poses some other dangers.
Even if that work laptop you brought home is protected from hackers, your home router might not be. Cybersecurity specialist Ed Peters says hackers could have a field day.
The Wi-Fi system says Ed's Wi-Fi. Oh, gee, if he's that lazy, I'll bet you I could figure out what his password is.
Once inside, the cyber crook could then tap into the work laptop for access not just to your personal information, but to company secrets. He advises novice telecommuters to strengthen their passwords and the names of their Wi-Fi connections.
That's correspondent Jim Ryan. The lack of testing and the confusion over who the test has complicated matters around the country.
Perhaps the biggest problem facing the United States is how complicated current COVID-19 testing is, straining the capacity of the ability to identify who has it. Seema Verma of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid pointing out efforts to streamline.
I think it's fair to say we need to do more testing, and that's why we're working with the private sector to bring up the capacity to do more testing.
President Trump and Vice President Pence, heading the coronavirus task force, will meet with industry leaders at the White House later today. Bob Costantini, Washington.
Again, we are waiting for the president to come out into the Rose Garden and tell us some more about coronavirus and what the federal government is doing. Lock it into 1010 Winds. When he speaks, we will bring it to you live. Winds News Time 3:09.
At Capital One, you can open a new savings account in about 5 minutes and earn 5 times the national average. Banking with Capital One means 5 times the savings to help pay for your perfect honeymoon. Or 5 times the savings toward your family's perfect vacation.
Big fan of water ride.
It's time to help make your savings goals come true. This is Banking Reimagined. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Rate comparison based on FDIC national rate. Capital One NA member FDIC.
Happening across the nation right now. ADP is helping Party City stores streamline recruiting. Music houses like Squeaky Clean Studios are demoing tracks while ADP helps keep business on track. And ADP helps a small Mexican restaurant keep up with compliance demands. When ADP helps businesses achieve what they're working for, that's newsworthy. HR, talent, time, benefits, and payroll. Informed by data and designed for people. Learn more at design.adp.com.
Now this message, find your winning moment at Wind Creek Bethlehem. Visit windcreekbethlehem.com. Winds News Time 3:10. Traffic and AccuWeather in a minute.
Are you one of the millions who owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? If you're being threatened by bank levies, wage garnishments, fees, and penalties, or fear you could lose your home or business, listen carefully to this important announcement. The IRS has recently enacted the Fresh Start Initiative that will allow applicants a one-time settlement on all the money they owe. This program has led to settlements saving hundreds of millions of dollars for those who qualified. With the expert guidance of Ideal Tax Solution, your debt could potentially settle for a fraction of what you owe. And the news gets better because right now, Ideal Tax Solution is currently enrolling new applicants. But don't wait. Caseloads are at unprecedented volume for this one-time only IRS debt settlement. If you owe $10,000 $1,000 or more, you may qualify for immediate enrollment, but you must call now. Call 800-853-9541. That's 800-853-9541. 800-853-9541. Again, 800-853-9541. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit idealtaxsolution.com.
Winds News Time 311. From the Mavis Discount Tire Traffic Center, here's Greg Rice.
Well, if you're looking for some semblance of normalcy, look no further than the Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge, as that is already an absolute standstill all the way across the span. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Inbound Georgia's fine. Cross Bronx by far the worst of it getting out. Everything else is some kind of better. Deegan and Harlow River Drive just with a bit of a backup. Lincoln's about 10 in, 10 out. Holland, 20 minutes on the outbound ride, no more than 10 in. City-bound Queensboro upper level, that is all sorts of slow at this hour. The northbound Henry Hudson Parkway Sawmill combination a bit slow getting up to the Cross County. That's where Horace on the 1010 Winds tip line lets us know about an accident knocking out of the right lane. Cross Island, a southbound slowdown to the LY. Stay with the Clearview instead. Eastbound LY, your lost leader home for Queens. Here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three, not a whole lot. Eastbound Southern State a bit slow to the Seaford Oyster Bay. Northern State over to New Hyde Park Road, and the LY getting out towards Willis Avenue. Traffic sponsored by MajorWorld.com. Buying a car with your tax refund, stop. Don't get ripped off by wasting your refund paying huge dealer fees. At Major World, you only pay $75 in dealer fees. Major World, just straight up honest pricing. Visit MajorWorld.com or call 1-800-MAJOR-AUTO. I'm Greg Rice on 1010 Winds.
Now the AccuWeather 4-day forecast, sponsored by Subaru's all-new 2020 Forester. Here's meteorologist Dave Bowers with a live report.
Well, now with the sunshine, temperature is shot into the upper 60s, and for tonight we'll have a clear sky, breezy, turning chillier. We'll be down around 40 at daybreak, mid-30s in many of the suburbs. Then some cooler air moves in for the weekend, but seasonable. Tomorrow sunshine, some afternoon clouds, about 54. 30s tomorrow night with some cloudiness, but Sunday turns sunny, high at 50 degrees. Then a chilly day on Monday, sunshine followed by some clouds and a high at 44. We're at 67 degrees in Central Park, mostly sunny with the west wind at 15. Repeating the current temperature, 67 going down to 40 in Midtown. I'm meteorologist Dave Bowers on New York's weather station, 1010 Winds.
Winds News Time 3:13.
There's a decade's worth of new adventure on the way. Make the most of it with the 2020 Subaru Forester. Standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus 33 miles per gallon. Climb in and get roadworthy with standard EyeSight driver assist technology. Standard Subaru Starlink multimedia with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration. Plus an available 8-inch touchscreen. It's the right size SUV for all the adventures ahead. With a spacious and comfortable interior for everyone you want to take along. The 2020 Subaru Forester, starting at $24,495. The SUV for all you love. Test drive the all-new Subaru Forester at your local Subaru retailer today.
EPA estimated highway fuel economy for 2020 Subaru Forester models. Actual models may vary. EyeSight is a driver assist system that may not operate optimally under all driving conditions. The driver is always responsible for safe and attentive driving. System effectiveness depends on many factors, such as vehicle maintenance, weather, and road conditions. See your owner's manual for complete details on system operation and limitations.
We've got an offer you won't want to miss. Get internet and TV from Optimum for only $64.99 a month for 2 years guaranteed. Just visit Optimum.com today, and you'll get up to 200 meg internet. Optimum's Altice One with over 220 channels, 4K Ultra HD, and a voice-activated remote. All with no annual contract and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Already stuck in a contract? We'll give you up to $500 when you switch. And for a limited time, get a $100 Amazon.com gift card on us. Don't wait to enjoy your entertainment. Act now to get this amazing offer while it lasts. Get internet and TV for just $64.99 a month for 2 years guaranteed. Visit Optimum.com today to find out more. Only at Optimum. For new residential customers, taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. Not transferable and not available in all areas. Must maintain all services at required levels to maintain promo pricing. 90 days of continuous service required for gift card. Allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery. Advertised fee for wired connection. Wi-Fi fees may vary. See Optimum.com for details.
We are still waiting for President Trump's coronavirus briefing from the White House. Lock it into 1010 Winds. We will carry it live. Winds News Time 3:15. Now from the WFAN Sports Desk, here's John Minko.
Larry, the Masters began 1934. Only World War II has kept it from being played until now. The annual Rite of Spring for golf will not happen this year, at least not as scheduled. The Masters has been postponed until a later date. That means there'll be no golf at least for the next month. The PGA Tour already canceled the next 3 events leading up to the Masters. Additional news today, Boston Marathon, another traditional event, rescheduled to September 14th. It was supposed to be April 20th. The NCAA tells AP that it actually planned to salvage March Madness with a 16-team tournament before canceling the entire event altogether. Not only the NCAA tournament, but all NCAA championship events, including baseball and lacrosse. And so as a result, the NCAA will extend the eligibility of athletes on spring sports teams 1 year to make up for the season lost to the new coronavirus. And Tim Cluse is stepping down as Iona's head basketball coach due to health reasons. Sports at 15:45 around the clock. John Minko, 1010, Win Sports.
Wins News Time, 3:17. Former Florida gubernatorial candidate and Democratic Rising star Andrew Gilliam is embroiled in a drug scandal. Gilliam was found by police in a South Beach hotel room this morning with what is suspected to be methamphetamines. Another man in the room appeared to have overdosed. Gilliam was in Miami for a wedding and says while he drank too much, he never used drugs. In 2018, Gilliam won a stunning primary victory with a progressive agenda, but he lost for governor in the November election to Republican Ron DeSantis by a narrow margin. Iraq's military says 5 members of its security forces and a civilian were killed in U.S.-led coalition airstrikes early today. The United States called the strikes retaliation for a rocket attack that killed and wounded American and British service personnel earlier in the week at a base north of Baghdad. General Frank McKenzie, the commander of the U.S. Central Command, says they targeted weapons facilities, that is, belonging to the Iran-backed Shiite militia group, and avoided civilian areas.
There are a lot of sites I could strike, but I would kill a lot of innocent people if we did that. We're just going to take that risk because that's the way we fight, and we're not prepared to go out there and do it that way.
Another such group is vowing revenge for today's strikes. Starbucks is making contingency plans as coronavirus spreads.
Starbucks continues to maintain regular operations in the U.S. and Canada, but is keeping an eye on the pandemic and will make decisions on a community and store-by-store basis. Among the possible options being considered by Starbucks, limiting seating in stores, mobile order only for pickup or delivery, or only opening the drive-thru. As a last resort, Starbucks says it will close the store. Starbucks is also expanding catastrophe pay for employees. I'm Ann Cates.
Wins News Time, 3:19.
I love my social worker because she helped me through a tough time. My social worker was here for me and my mom when my grandma got sick. When I lost my brother, my social worker helped me get through it.
March is Social Work Month. Just a mere 31 days dedicated to the countless hours social workers spend helping families in need. CareRight recognizes the sacrifices social workers make every day by constantly putting others before themselves. That's why CareRight has partnered with Girl Scout Troop 1631 in an effort to allow today's youth to thank these caregivers for acting as role models and leaders in our community. At CareRight, they employ hundreds of social workers throughout the nation who dedicate their lives to helping others. Our youth are the leaders of tomorrow, and CareRight is proud to partner with the Girl Scouts in saluting today's social workers in the hospitals and in their centers who have made a positive difference in our community.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, social workers.
The CareRight Centers Network. Renewal happens here.
This is no time to be without 1010 Wins. If you're working from home, stream us on your computer, or just tell your iPhone or home device to play 1010 Wins.
The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 Wins. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good afternoon. It's 63 degrees. At 3:20, I'm Larry Cantor, and here's what's happening. President Trump is expected to declare a national emergency when he speaks from the White House. At any moment, we will carry it live. New York City schools remain open, but Council Speaker Corey Johnson thinks they should be closed. Catholic schools in Brooklyn will be closed next week. A drive-through coronavirus testing center is now open in New Rochelle. 1010 Wins, AccuWeather, mostly clear, breezy tonight, down to 40.
It's a job, Nico. Next month's Masters Golf Tournament is postponed. The Boston Marathon will be run in September. NASCAR and IndyCar cancel events too to coronavirus concerns.
This is Andrew O'Day. Bloomberg stocks are rebuilding early session highs. They're now up 860 amid hope for virus response from the Fed, the President, and the G7.
Winds News Time, 3:21. From the 1010 Winds Traffic Center, here's Greg Rice.
Let's go to Brooklyn. Inbound side of the Gowanus getting up towards the area of the Prospect Expressway. We're getting word of a broken down car blocking the lane from some Wazers. It's real slow from the Bell Bridge into the area. The worst of the westbound ride. Not as bad as usual for this point on a Friday afternoon, but still sluggish from McGinnis Boulevard over to Cadnan Plaza. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Inbound George, you've got a good go to the upper and lower. Now, every other approach starting to show signs of life in terms of the backups, but the worst of it by far continues to be the westbound Cross Bronx. Lincoln, that is about 10 either way. Outbound side of the Holland, that is closer to 25. Inbound, no more than 10 minutes. The Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge, city-bound Queensboro upper level, they're all loaded up. Cross Island is a southbound slowdown to the LI. Stay with the Clearview instead. Traffic sponsored by 1-877-8-ABUSED. Were you abused? The law office of Phillips and Paolicelli is ready to hold childhood sexual predators accountable. The clergy, school districts, hospitals, speak to a lawyer at Phillips and Paolicelli now. Call 1-877-8-ABUSED. That's 1-877-8-ABUSED. I'm Greg Rice on 1010 Winds.
We are expecting a briefing from President Trump at any moment about coronavirus, and when he speaks, you'll hear him live here on 1010 Winds. You can watch him at 1010winds.com. He's expected to declare a national emergency and clear the way for more federal aid to state and local governments. Governor Cuomo was in New Rochelle this morning, opening the state's first drive-through coronavirus testing center.
Healthcare workers covered head to toe in protective gear await the cars pulling up into the drive-through tents. The folks being tested don't ever have to leave their cars, and Governor Cuomo says that's much better than having them walk into a hospital.
It's not only faster and easier, it's also smarter and safer.
The samples collected here are sent to labs. Results are available in about a day. Priority is given to New Rochelle residents and those at high risk. This is by appointment only. Sonia Rincon, 1010 Winds in New Rochelle.
At his daily briefing this afternoon, the governor said he spoke with President Trump and Vice President Pence today, and they said they would allow New York to contract with private labs to increase testing capacity. He says this will allow New York to do 6,000 tests a day. He says another priority is preparing for a ballooning population of people who will need hospital care.
Italy got into trouble. They didn't have enough ICU beds to handle the number of patients who needed intensive care. That is going to be a problem in this state and in this country, and that's something that we have to watch very, very carefully.
He says there are now 421 confirmed cases in New York, with 154 of them in New York City, and the hospitalization rate is 12%. In New Jersey, Governor Murphy reports 21 new cases of coronavirus. That brings the state total to 50. City Council Speaker Corey Johnson says the city needs to do more in an effort to stop the spread of coronavirus. Specifically, he disagrees with Mayor de Blasio's decision to keep schools open. Johnson tells 1010 Winds that just doesn't make sense.
One of the major things that we've been calling for day after day is social distancing. And for 1010 Winds listeners that may not be sure what that is, social distancing is us creating 6 feet between each other. Unnecessary contact we don't want, because we want to slow transmission of this virus.
He says that will save lives. The mayor says the city has to keep going, and having kids stay home would put an extreme hardship on their working parents. He also points to the fact that so many kids rely on schools to serve them breakfast and lunch. The president of the United Federation of Teachers, Michael Mulgrew, says he agrees with Johnson. Schools should close. The Brooklyn Catholic Diocese says its schools will be closed next week. The people who are most vulnerable to coronavirus are urged to stay home, and that's making life even more difficult.
Some are doing all they can to avoid going out in public during the coronavirus crisis.
This is it. I mean, I'm not going any place except where I have to go.
Fear of doing simple errands like shopping is a reality for those most vulnerable, like seniors and those in poor health.
I'm scared because I have a very compromised immune system.
Volunteers and nonprofits are stepping in to help. Paul Packer with Long Island Care says he's getting more calls for help.
The calls that we got about the supermarkets and that people can't find food in the supermarkets. They can't buy tissues. They can't buy hand sanitizer.
Keeping volunteers busy making extra deliveries. Darius Radius, 1010 Wins News.
Partly sunny skies, 67 degrees. We're heading down to 46. Winds News Time, 3:26. Now Bloomberg Money Watch on 1010 Winds, sponsored by Virgin Atlantic Airways. Here's Andrew O'Day.
As the president is expected at any moment to declare a national coronavirus emergency, freeing up additional resources, the Fed Reserve is making $37 billion in new bond purchases to help keep markets unfrozen. And the G7 announces a Monday video conference to coordinate responses. Wall Street likes all this. Following an early rally, which was pared back midday, indexes are rebuilding. Right now, the Dow up 900. Nasdaq gaining 279. S&P 500 up 103. We talk a lot about what big companies are doing to deal with coronavirus, but the most vulnerable businesses are small ones. Many restaurants getting hit with slowed business are getting some relief as today's delivery operator Grubhub announces it is temporarily suspending up to $100 million in commissions it normally collects from independent restaurants. It's also working with several big city mayors, including Mayor de Blasio, to financially help restaurant workers and drivers impacted by the slowdown. Bloomberg Money Watch at 26 and 56 past every hour. I'm Andrew O'Day for 1010 Wins.
Now this message, injured, let the Rothenberg Law Firm help you. Go to injurylawyer.com. Wins News Time, 3:27.
There's essentially no immunity against this virus.
What do you need to know? Is there anything you should do?
It's good advice always to avoid large crowds.
Stay with 1010 Wins for the latest on the impact of the coronavirus. We'll get through this together.
If your ideas challenge the status quo, if you've advised people you had no right advising, if you built companies and lost companies and built them again, if you've been called a pillar, a dreamer, an innovator and a genius, if you thrive in the 11th, if you have blown it and completely nailed it in the same day, prepare for your next departure. Virgin Atlantic to London. Business is an adventure. Let it fly.
It's just too easy. That's what business owners on Long Island, Queens, and Manhattan are saying about BnB Bank. BnB's goal is to create the easiest, most convenient business banking experience. Always keep your bank accounts in your back pocket with digital conveniences like mobile banking and e-statements. BnB gives you what you need to make the right business moves in real time. It's banking that works at the speed of business. Visit your local branch or bnbbank.com. BnB Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. Indeed will also give you the sticky frog, which will suddenly leap and stick to the face of the perfect hire. Yeah, okay, there's no sticky frog. But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents, which means you're going to start telling your kids to clean up before the cleaning lady comes. Doesn't make sense, but you're the parent and they're the kids. You're going to start telling them that now, too. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance. And there's your opening to remind them who pays the bills around here. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Rest assured, Dial 7 is taking steps towards your passenger safety and health. For your safe ride, dial 7 today. That's 212-777-7777. Or go to dial7.com.
And President Trump has just come out of the White House. Let's listen.
Beautiful day in the Rose Garden. Appreciate everybody being here. Today I'd like to provide an update to the American people on several decisive new actions we're taking in our very vigilant effort to combat and ultimately defeat the coronavirus. We've been working very hard on this. We've made tremendous progress. When you compare what we've done to other areas of the world, it's pretty incredible. A lot of that had to do with the early designation and the closing of the borders. And then, as you know, Europe was just designated as the hotspot right now, and we closed that border a while ago. So that was lucky, or through talent, or through luck, call it whatever you want. But through a very collective action and shared sacrifice, national determination, we will overcome the threat of the virus. I also announced Wednesday night, following the advice of our medical professionals, who are doing a tremendous job, we appreciate it very much, that we're suspending the entry of foreign nationals who have been to Europe in the last 14 days from entering the United States. Citizens, permanent residents, and our families, any of the families returning from Europe, will be subject to extra screening as well as self-isolation for a period of 14 days. As the World Health Organization confirmed today, many of the things that what we said were 100% correct, including our designation before them of Europe. Like our earlier very aggressive actions with China, this measure will save countless lives. I appreciate a number of the folks behind me, a number of the people behind me said that that saved a lot of lives, that early designation. But it is only the beginning of what we're really doing, and now we're in a different phase. We had some very old and obsolete rules that we had to live with. It worked under certain circumstances, but not under mass circumstances. They were there for a long time, they were in place for a long time, and we're breaking them down now. And they're very usable for certain instances, but not for this. To unleash the full power of the federal government in this effort today, I am officially declaring a national emergency. Two very big words. The action I am taking will open up access to up to $50 billion of very important and a large amount of money for states and territories or localities in our shared fight against this disease. In furtherance of the order, I'm urging every state to set up emergency operation centers effective immediately. You're going to be hearing from some of the largest companies and greatest retailers and medical companies in the world. They're standing right behind me and the side of me. I'm also asking every hospital in this country to activate its emergency preparedness plan so that they can meet the needs of Americans everywhere. The hospitals are very engaged. New York and various other places are also very engaged. I just spoke with Governor Cuomo. We had a very good conversation, and we're working very strongly with many states, including New York. The emergency orders I'm issuing today will also confer broad new authority to the Secretary of Health and Human Services. The Secretary of HHS will be able to immediately waive provisions of applicable laws and regulations to give doctors, all hospitals, and healthcare providers maximum flexibility to respond to the virus and care for patients. This includes the following critical authorities: the ability to waive laws to enable telehealth, a fairly new and incredible thing that's happened in the not so distant past. I tell you, what they've done with telehealth is incredible. It gives remote doctors visits and hospital check-ins the power to waive certain federal license requirements so that doctors from other states can provide services in states with the greatest need. Number two, the ability to waive requirements that critical access hospitals limit the number of beds to 25 and the length of stay to 96 hours. The ability to waive the requirements of a 3-day hospital stay prior to admission to a nursing home, big thing. The authority to waive the rules to hinder hospitals' ability to bring additional physicians on board or obtain needed office space. They can do as they want. They can do what they have to do. They know what they have to do. Now they don't have any problem getting it done. The authority to waive rules that severely restrict where hospitals can care for patients within the hospital itself, ensuring that the emergency capacity can be quickly established. Will remove or eliminate every obstacle necessary to deliver our people the care that they need and that they're entitled to. No resource will be spared, nothing whatsoever. 10 days ago, I brought together the CEOs of commercial labs at the White House and directed them to immediately begin working on a solution to dramatically increase the availability of tests. Other countries have called us and worked with us, and they're doing similar things or will be doing similar things. As a result of that action today, we're announcing a new partnership with private sector to vastly increase and accelerate our capacity to test for the coronavirus. We want to make sure that those who need a test can get a test very safely, quickly, and conveniently, but we don't want people to take a test if we feel that they shouldn't be doing it. And we don't want everyone running out and taking, only if you have certain symptoms. Using federal emergency authorities, the FDA approved a new test for the virus. We did this within hours after receiving the application from Roche, a process that would normally take weeks. We therefore expect up to 500,000 additional tests will be available early next week. We'll be announcing locations probably on Sunday night. I want to thank Roche, great company, for their incredible work. I'd also like to thank Thermo Fisher. The FDA's goal is to hopefully authorize your application within 24 hours. It'll go very quickly. It's going very quickly, which will bring additionally 1.4 million tests on board next week and 5 million within a month. I doubt we'll need anywhere near that. At the same time, we've been in discussions with pharmacies and retailers to make drive-through tests available in the critical locations identified by public health professionals. The goal is for individuals to be able to drive up and be swabbed without having to leave your car. I want to thank Google. Google is helping to develop a website. It's going to be very quickly done, unlike websites of the past, to determine whether a test is warranted and to facilitate testing at a nearby convenient location. We have many, many locations behind us, by the way. We cover this country and large parts of the world, by the way. We're not going to be talking about the world right now, but we cover very, very strongly our country. Stores in virtually every location. Google has 1,700 engineers working on this right now. They've made tremendous progress. Our overriding goal is to stop the spread of the virus and to help all Americans who have been impacted by this. Again, we don't want everybody taking this test. It's totally unnecessary. And this will pass. This will pass through, and we're going to be even stronger for it. We've learned a lot. Tremendous amount has been learned. I want to thank Deborah Burks, and I want to ask her maybe to come up and say a few words as to what's happening. Dr. Burks is a highly respected person I've gotten to know very well over the last 6 days, and what we've done is rebuilt something that was very old-fashioned, somewhat obsolete, certainly obsolete when it comes to the kind of numbers that we're talking about. Dr. Burks, please. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. I think you know at the beginning of this epidemic, HHS through CDC proactively developed an assay built on the existing flu surveillance system. That surveillance system was then converted to diagnostic system. But last Tuesday, seeing the spread of the virus around the globe, the President realized that our current approach to testing was inadequate to meet the needs of the American public. He asked for an entire overhaul of the testing approach. He immediately called the private sector laboratories to the White House, as noted, and charged them with developing a high-throughput quality platform that can meet the needs of the American public. We are grateful to LabCorp and Quest for taking up the charge immediately after the meeting, and within 72 hours bringing additional testing access, particularly to the outbreak areas of Washington State and California, and now across the country. We are also very grateful to the universities and large hospital systems that took up the charge to develop their own quality tests, made available by new FDA guidance. This has resulted in expanded testing across New York, California, Washington, Colorado, and you see sometimes those drive-through options that have been made available through these high-throughput options. Following the meeting last week, major commercial laboratory equipment and diagnostic companies took immediate action to adopt and develop new testing systems. Last night, the initial company, Roche, received FDA approval, moving from request to development to approval in record time. This innovative approach centered fully on unleashing the power of the private sector, focusing on providing convenient testing to hundreds of thousands of Americans within short turnaround times. In less than 2 weeks together, we have developed a solution that we believe will meet the future testing needs of Americans. I understand how difficult this has been. I was part of the HIV/AIDS response in the 80s. We knew from first finding cases in 1981, it took us to almost 1985 to have a test. It took us another 11 years to have effective therapy. It is because of the lessons learned from that we were able to mobilize and bring those individuals that were key to the HIV response to this response. I understand that a lot of this behind-the-scenes action over the last couple of weeks was invisible to the press and the American people. But this intense effort has not only resulted in innovative solutions, but an automated, high-throughput system bringing the availability of these quality coronavirus testing to the American people at unprecedented speed. Finally, I want you to know in South Korea, they did have a large number of tests available over the last several weeks. Their positivity rate is between 3 and 4%. With lab floor test expanded testing, their positivity rate is between 1 and 2%. So we want to also announce this new approach to testing, which will start in the screening website up here, facilitated by Google, where clients and patients and people of interest can go, fill out a screening questionnaire, move down for symptoms or risk factors, to be able to provide results in 24 to 36 hours. That is the intent of this approach. We have seen it work just in our own United States, and we want to bring this across the continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, I'd like to maybe have Tony, you want to come up? You become I think everybody out here knows you pretty well, but Tony's been doing a tremendous job working long hours, and you've seen a lot happen, but this has been, it's been a great experience, and working with you has been terrific. Tony, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is another example of what I've been referring to in my discussions with many of you in the audience as a proactive, leaning forward, aggressive, trying to stay ahead of the curve. And what you're seeing now with this order is that we're going to be able to remove the constraints so that people at the state, the local level, the individual physician, all the way up through the federal government will have as many constraints as possible removed for them to do everything they possibly can so that we can implement the things that we've been talking about. The containment, the mitigation. We want to suppress it down to that small mound. And I think what we've done today is something that is going to be a very important element in having us be successful in doing that. We still have a long way to go. There will be many more cases, but we'll take care of that. And ultimately, as the President said, this will end. But what's going on here today is going to help it to end sooner than it would have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony. If I could, some of these folks who we know, they're celebrities in their own right. They're the biggest business people, the greatest retailers anywhere in the world, and one of them is Doug McMillan from Walmart. And I'd like to have Doug, if he would, say a few words, wherever you may be. So, Doug, please.
When we got the call yesterday from the White House, we were eager to do our part to help serve the country, and given what we're facing, that's certainly important to do. We should all be doing that. So we've been asked to make portions of our parking lot available in select locations in the beginning and scaling over time as supply increases so that people can experience the drive-through experience that the President described. We'll stay involved and do everything we can from a supply chain point of view to be of assistance. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it very much. I'll just stay right over here. And Richard, if you could come up, please. Richard. Please. Walgreens, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. And similar to Doug and Walmart, we're happy to stand in here and help in communities all across America, because a lot of times when we have natural disasters, our stores are a beacon in the community, and this situation is no different. So we look forward to partnering with the CDC, the administration, HHS, and the task force, and specifically to the Vice President's doing such a fantastic job. We're ready to engage and help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you very much. Brian Cornell, Target. Thank you, please.
Well, Mr. President, thank you for inviting us here today, along with our colleagues from Walmart and Walgreens and our partners at CVS. Normally, you view us as competitors, but today we're focused on a common competitor, and that's defeating the spread of the coronavirus. And we look forward to working with the administration to do our fair share to alleviate this growing threat. So thank you for including us today. In the near term, we're all committed to making sure we're keeping our stores open to serve the American consumer who's rapidly stocking up on beverage items that they need during this time, making sure we run safe stores and create an environment that's safe for our team members, making sure that they feel supported during this very critical time. So thank you for including us.
Thank you very much. Great job. I'm here, Tom Pollard. Tom, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. As CEO of Becton Dickinson, we're one of the leading providers of medical devices as well as collection products for testing of coronavirus. We were ramping up our manufacturing capacity to ensure that the right collection devices and testing equipment are ready to address this issue. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, man. Great job you've done. Stephen Rakowski, Quest Diagnostics, please. Great job. Thank you
very much. Thank you, Mr. President. So, as mentioned, we were called, the leadership of the Vice President, last week to come together as an industry, and we took advantage of that opportunity to work with the FDA, to work with the Center for Disease Control, and we are up and running with tests in a number of our facilities. As the President mentioned, we now have capabilities from Roche Diagnostics that we will bring into our facilities this weekend. And I know myself and that's my colleague at LabCorp will be doing the same. So the capacity available to the American public to support this action with consumers will be considerably increased in the next few weeks. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks. And Matt Sauce, please, of Roche. Matt, thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, from Roche, we want to thank the FDA for their rapid approval of our coronavirus test. We really appreciate the partnership with the CDC and the FDA to get that to market as fast as possible, because it's critical for us to make that available to help patients in need, and working with laboratories to get it up and going in the near future, which will bring hundreds of thousands of tests available to patients in need in the United States. So thank you.
And you can do it. You can do it. Great company. David Pierre of Signify Health, please. Thanks, Steve.
Now the 5-day forecast with our meteorologist Bob Larson. Started to a nice warm afternoon, Bob.
All right, we've lost the line of the Weather Center, it looks like. It is nice outside, sunny, with temperatures in the 60s. Tonight, clear, brisk, and chillier, low around 40. For tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, and cooler, the high 54. Sunday, chilly, with clouds giving way to afternoon sun. The high Sunday, only around 50.
And cloudy and chilly again coming up on Monday, it looks like, with highs probably around 44. Tuesday, a little warmer, 53, with occasional rain and drizzle. Wednesday, a lot of sun and a high of 54.
We've hit 70 in Basking Ridge, West Haverstraw with 65. 65 degrees now in New York City at 3:50 on the WCBS Afternoon Roundup.
Another day of rapid developments regarding coronavirus in New York. Governor Cuomo provided an update on the number of new cases and other changes to help consumers in the state.
WCBS reporter Peter Haskell joins us now. Peter, let's start with the numbers. How much have they changed?
They have changed significantly. 96 new cases in New York State. That brings the total to 421. New York now has more cases than any other state in the country. Let's look at the numbers. The city has 59 new cases. That brings the total to 154. Westchester still is the leader at 158. Nassau has 51 cases, 10 are new. Suffolk 28 cases, 8 are new. And Rockland has 9 cases, 2 are new.
Did the governor say anything about school closings, Peter?
Clearly, that is something that a lot of people are talking about. The governor says it's up to the localities to decide. But one thing is significant. In order for schools to get state funding, they need to be teaching students 180 days a year. The governor said he is going to waive the 180 limit, so even if schools have to cancel a couple of days, they will not lose state funding.
And Peter, what else did you glean from this briefing from the governor today?
Probably the most significant thing is the state has received approval from the federal government to have 28 private labs do testing. So instead of being able to process 3,000 tests a day, it'll be 6,000. The governor says this is really significant. The more people you test, the more positives you get, the more you can isolate those who are sick and therefore protect those who are not.
By the way, Peter, one of Governor Cuomo's own daughters is now isolated?
She is being watched, and he talked about the fact that it really strikes home for him, and this becomes very personal for him. So it's not clear if she's tested positive, but she is isolated.
All right, thank you, Peter. WCBS reporter Peter Haskell, who heard from Governor Cuomo today. 3:52 on the WCBS Afternoon Roundup.
Be amazing. Be generous. Be thoughtful. Become an eye, organ, and tissue donor. There are thousands of New Yorkers who need sight and life-restoring transplants, but they're depending on us to help. Simply go to idonation.org on your smartphone, tablet, or computer and enroll in the New York State Donate Life Registry. Do it today. It only takes a minute. The Eye Bank of New York has provided the beautiful gift of sight to more than 65,000 men, women, and children since 1944. Go to idonation.org. That's idonation.org. Sign up to be an eye, organ, and tissue donor and give the gift of sight and life to a fellow New Yorker. Become a donor and sign up today. It only takes a minute to be amazing. Be generous. Be thoughtful. The Eye Bank of New York. Give the gift of sight and life. Liberty Mutual Insurance Company helps you customize your home insurance so you only pay for what you need. Unlike things you paid for you didn't need, like that much-needed 125-inch flat-screen TV.
It's hurting my eyes a lot.
Or your 100-square-foot bedroom.
My neck isn't so much stiff, and it's completely stuck.
With Liberty Mutual, get customized home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Uh-oh, I'm seeing color splotches. Liberty, 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 Liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Happening across the nation right now. ADP is helping Party City stores streamline recruiting. Music houses like Squeaky Clean Studios are demoing tracks while ADP helps keep business on track. And ADP helps a small Mexican restaurant keep up with compliance demands. When ADP helps businesses achieve what they're working for, that's newsworthy. HR talent, time, benefits, and payroll. Informed by data and designed for people. Learn more at design.adp.com.
President Trump has declared a coronavirus national emergency, freeing up $50 billion to help fight the outbreak. We will have more coming up in 5 minutes, so stay with us for that. 3:55 at WCBS. Time for money news. Decent rebound today. Here's Bloomberg's Tracy Jonke.
And a lot of this we got after President Trump moments ago announced he's waiving interest on federal student loans until further notice, and he says he's instructing the Energy Secretary to purchase oil for a strategic reserve. The gain's already pretty big as he was speaking. Now even bigger. The Dow, we're looking at the biggest gains in about 12 years, almost 8%, biggest point gain ever, 1,656. The NASDAQ rising 539 points, also higher by 7.5%. The S&P up 196 points. Delta Airlines has cut a record number of flights from its schedule, more than after the 9/11 attacks, because it says demand has dropped at a rate that is unlike anything it has seen. Delta will ground as many as 300 jets and cut its seating capacity by 40% in the next few months. But shares of Delta Airlines are cut up in this rally, rising 13%. Companies including Comcast, Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T are promising they won't cut internet services to households and small businesses. that can't pay their bills because of COVID-19. The company signed a government pledge that creates a 60-day grace period. And once again, Wall Street finally heard about economic stimulus measures from the for the first time in more than 11 years. With Money News at 25 and 55 on WCBS, I'm Bloomberg's Tracy Jonke.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's
cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
When you see a traffic mess, tell WCBS so we can tell everyone. Call the Mavis Discount Tire traffic tip line at 212-975-8888. That's 212-975-8888. Traffic and weather together next, sponsored by Subaru's all-new 2020 Outback. Subaru was the 2019 most trusted brand, according to Kelley Blue Book, and is Kelley Blue Book's most trusted brand for 5 years running. Test drive a new Subaru today at your local New York, New Jersey Subaru retailer. WCBS News Time, 3:58. Traffic and weather together on the 8 starts with Jim Feldman.
And we'll get through this together. We'll put the health of America first.
Siba, I'd like you to maybe take that a step further, please.
Down to the Parkway before exit 153. That's a broken down vehicle in the center lane. Linda, thanks. And northbound delays continue between the Chesapeake Rest area and exit 125 in Sayreville as the express lanes of the northbound Parkway still subject to closure with an ongoing accident investigation and also with emergency maintenance. Westchester County, northbound on the Sawmill Parkway, still have a crash by the Crouse County Parkway, though it has been pushed onto the shoulder. And northbound on the Bronx River Parkway, also at the Crouse County Parkway, there's an accident there, and that is also on the shoulder. In Brooklyn, Belt Parkway, bumper-to-bumper westbound between Knapp Street and Cropsey Avenue, all because of a broken-down vehicle. And now the forecast from the WCBS Weather Center.
Increasingly windy and milder this afternoon. Clouds giving way to sunshine, a high up to 68. Clear, brisk, and chillier tonight, overnight low 40. Mostly sunny tomorrow with a cool breeze and a high at 54. On the chilly side, Sunday, clouds giving way to afternoon sunshine, high 50.
It has warmed up nicely under a mostly sunny sky. 70 in Metuchen, 65 in Nanuet, 65 in Howard Beach. We're up to 68 degrees here in Hudson Square.
This is WCBS, WCBS HD, and WCBS FM HD2 New York.
President Trump declares a national emergency over the coronavirus and will open up access to $50 billion in relief funds. Governor Cuomo opens the state's first drive-through coronavirus testing facility in New Rochelle. Governor Murphy says closing all public schools in New Jersey is an option should the outbreak worsen. At the closing bell, the Dow is up more than 1,800 points. The S&P up 215, the NASDAQ up 586 points. The NCAA gives an extra year of eligibility to athletes whose spring seasons have been canceled. 68 degrees, I'm Steve Scott.
More than just the headlines. This is WCBS News Radio 880.
WCBS News Time, 4 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by the Capital One Venture Card.
I'm Pam Coulter.
I am officially declaring a national emergency.
Moments ago in the White House Rose Garden, President Trump announced his latest action to curb the spread of the coronavirus that's now in 48 states in the District of Columbia.
The action I am taking will open up access to up to $50 billion of very important and a large amount of money for states and territories and localities in our shared fight against this disease.
He also said he's giving the health secretary the authority to waive federal regulations and laws to give doctors and hospitals flexibility in treating patients. He spoke as Congress continued to work on a package to support testing and treatment and to counter the virus's economic impact. Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
The American people expect and deserve a coordinated, science-based, and whole-of-government response to keep them and their loved ones safe. A response that puts families first to stimulate the economy.
Encouraged, investors have pushed the Dow up nearly 2,000 points. The virus is also posing problems for the EU.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says minimizing new infections across the European Union is the priority.
It's not possible to stop the virus, but it is possible to slow down the spread.
As EU governments shut schools, restaurants, and cafes and cancel lucrative events, their economies and workers will suffer. Von der Leyen announced a new Corona response fund of more than $40 billion to support workers, businesses, and the healthcare sector in particular. Terry Schultz for CBS News, Brussels.
A bitter pill for golf fans after the next 3 events on the PGA Tour were canceled came word the Masters is being postponed. PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan said the coronavirus is too much of a threat.
Even though we feel like we have a safe environment and we've done all the right things, we can't proceed, and it's not right to proceed.
Tiger Woods had been planning to go after his 6th green jacket. A big sports retailer's closing up shop. CBS's Maria Garcia.
Gotta go to Moe's? Better get there soon. On Friday, the sporting goods chain begins its going out of business sales. The family-owned company has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and will be closing down its 100-plus stores. The family-owned retailer has been around for over 100 years, but like other chains like Payless Shoes and Toys R Us, Modell's is closing up shop for good. Maria Garcia, CBS News.
At the close, the Dow is up 1,981 points. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by the Capital One Venture Card. When you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase, your next trip is closer than you think. What's in your wallet?
Your news, live and local. This is WCBS News Radio 880, a radio.com station.
Good afternoon from the murk of this morning. It has turned into a lovely afternoon, 68 degrees in the sunshine in New York. Clear, brisk, a little chillier tonight, the low around 40. Tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and cooler with a high of 54 and a high of only around 50 on Sunday. But right now, 68 degrees in New York at 4:03. Governor Cuomo has announced a new way to test people for coronavirus now that the state has the most confirmed cases in the country. Joining us live now, WCBS reporter Peter Haskell. Peter?
And Steve, there are 96 new cases in the state, bringing the total to 421.
New York now has the highest number of cases in the country.
Governor Cuomo says Westchester has 158 cases, in the city 156. Maybe the most important news is that 28 private labs will do testing.
Allowing the state health department to set up the protocol. That will increase dramatically our testing capacity.
That capacity will increase to 6,000 per day. Now, with schools closed, they will not lose state aid.
We're going to waive the 180-day requirement.
State law requires districts teach students 180 days a year. If not, they could lose money. That will not be the case now. Steve?
Peter Haskell reporting live. It's 4:04 at WCBS. The governor today set up New York State's first drive-through coronavirus testing site. It's in New Rochelle. WCBS reporter Sean Adams was there.
On Glen Island in New Rochelle, there are white tents large enough for a modest wedding reception. They're drive-through coronavirus testing sites. You call, make an appointment, pull up. A medical professional in a biomedical protective suit takes the swab, and then you're on your way back home to quarantine. Governor Cuomo says right now this is not open to just anyone.
It's prioritized for people in New Rochelle. It's open to all people in Westchester County, but priority New Rochelle and priority vulnerable populations, because that's what this is all about, my friends. This is about senior citizens, a vulnerable population, people with existing respiratory illnesses.
The governor anticipates it could take months to weather the coronavirus storm. Once again, he pleaded with the federal government to allow states to authorize more private labs for testing. In New Rochelle, Sean Adams, WCBS News Radio 880.
And the federal government has done just that. Testing will be allowed at 28 state labs around New York. Brooklyn Supreme Court will remain open after an employee there tested positive for coronavirus last night. The courthouse is now being cleaned and many employees are working from home.
The number of COVID-19 cases is growing quickly in New Jersey. Here's WCBS reporter Steve Burns.
In one day, the number of COVID-19 cases in New Jersey has gone from 29 to 50, and they're spread out all across the state. Bergen County still has the most at 15.
We will get through this crisis together.
Governor Murphy says the state is putting plans together for what he says is the inevitability that schools across the state will close.
We must ensure that we have plans for a child's well-being, food security, and remote learning as we close down our schools.
He expects to make that announcement in a matter of days. Several districts, including all public schools in Bergen County, are already closed. Some hospitals are also reporting face masks and 84
by Makos. And more info.
Everything. They were givers in the truest sense of the word. Mom volunteered in the pediatric trauma unit at a major city hospital for 30 years. It was only natural that in their final days, just 6 months apart, Calvary Hospital was there to care for them as they do for so many families. Their cancer pain was relieved, as was our emotional pain. The compassion and care was unparalleled. The calmness and immaculate setting, peaceful and serene. At their end of life, they received a spirit of living that I will remember forever. Sincerely, Lorraine Braun.
This is Frank Calamari, president of Calvary Hospital. To learn more about our unique Calvary care, call us at 718-518-2000. Calvary Hospital is where life continues.
WCBS News Time 4:08, traffic and weather together on the 8th. What do you see, Jim Feldman?
We see a crash, Steve, in Queens, southbound side of the Cross Island Parkway. It's by the LIE in the right lane. Eastbound Jackie Robinson Parkway at the Kew Gardens interchange. Crash there too. Delays going back to at least Forest Park Drive. And you've got delays on the Bell Parkway eastbound now as you're coming away from the Van Wyck, getting up towards the Southern State Parkway. 59th Street Bridge, it is just a mess getting into Manhattan right now. Bumper to bumper across the upper end, also on the lower level. Midtown Tunnel definitely a better option. In Manhattan, northbound FDR, a crash still blocking the lane by the UN. Southbound delays continue as well into 71st Street. That is also an accident. Outbound side Holland Tunnel right now, delays standing at about 15 minutes. It's about 20 minutes outbound at the Holland and about 20 minutes to a half an hour on either Harlem River Drive, the Henry Hudson Parkway, or the D, and 45 minutes on the westbound Cross Bronx to the outbound George. Westbound 280 in New Jersey by the Stickle Drawbridge, you've got a crash. Westbound Route 22 by Hillside Avenue, still have a crash there as well. And our next traffic update less than 10 minutes away in WCBS.
Greg Allen, I was listening to you this morning, as I do every day, and you said, we'll be okay, this rain will go away, and it'll be a beautiful afternoon, and now look.
This is fantastic. I mean, I was just outside for a little while, and it is up near 70 degrees from most areas. The only places that are still cool are out across the east end of Long Island with the wind coming in off the water, so it's in the 50s, but everywhere else, 60s and 70s right now, and it is a beautiful afternoon. Now, as we go on into the night, a clear sky and turning cooler. The wind will die down. Still a little gusty right now, but the wind will die down. Lows near 40 in the city, 30s in the suburbs. Saturday sun mixing with clouds with a cool gusty wind, cooler than today. High 50 to 55. That's still nice though. Then cloudy for a while Saturday night. There could be a sprinkle or a flurry. Sunday becoming mostly sunny once again. We'll say it's a seasonably cool day. This is not the way it's supposed to be so early in March. The high on Sunday, 50, is what we should be expecting at this time of year. Right now, Steve, 68 in the city, humidity 43%, and a west wind gusting to 33 miles per hour.
Greg Allen, thank you. 410 at WCBS. Nassau County now has 51 confirmed cases of COVID-19. On Long Island, here's WCBS reporter Sophia Hall.
With the county executive declaring Nassau County under a state of emergency, many changes are being made. First, some of the 7,200 employees that do not need to be in the office don't have to be next week. Many county-owned facilities will be closed for 5 days, including the Aquatic Center, the Long Island Children's Museum, and the Cradle of Aviation. And County Executive Laura Curran says,
I am also closing our Traffic Parking Violations Agency, TIPVA, to the public and temporarily stopping enforcement of boot and tow programs. We are also temporarily stopping eviction enforcement proceedings by the sheriff.
Curran says, however, the county-owned parks and golf courses are opened.
Go get some fresh air, take some deep breaths, de-stress, Play some golf, even if you don't play well. Nobody cares.
Sophia Hall, WCBS News Radio 880.
Suffolk County Executive Steve Ballone has suspended after-school activities, civil service exams, and job fairs. Ballone is also trying to limit exposure to first responders by telling police officers not to go inside homes with EMTs unless it is absolutely necessary. Suffolk now has 28 confirmed cases of COVID-19. WCBS News Time 411.
Some job recruitment sites overload your inbox with resumes. Glassdoor knows not just any will do. For 62 million job seekers, Glassdoor only matches you with qualified candidates who have the skills and experience your small business needs to grow. In fact, Glassdoor hires are 30% more likely to stay with your company longer. And Glassdoor can help you find that perfect candidate in half the resumes. Go to glassdoor.com/hire. Glassdoor. Find the right fit for your business.
A new floor is a big decision, but with the Home Depot in your corner, it doesn't have to be a hard one. Take waterproof Stony Oak vinyl plank flooring from the Home Decorators collection. Right now, just $229 a square foot. There's even more in store for you in our flooring showroom. From classic looks to the newest trends, you'll cover a lot of ground. For style, durability, and guaranteed low prices on floors, it's a good time to be a doer at the Home Depot at HomeDepot.com. How doers get more done. U.S. only.
WCBS News Time 412 Sports Now. Here is Rich Ackerman.
Thanks, Steve. A goodwill gesture by the New Jersey Devils as hourly event staff and employees will be paid for the canceled Devils games and events at the Prudential Center. The team says they're like family. It's important to lift each other up in these times. Carolina Hurricanes broadcaster John Forslund is in self-quarantine. He had stayed in the same Detroit hotel room recently that had been previously occupied by the Utah Jazz Rudy Gobert, who tested positive for COVID-19. The Masters, the latest event to be postponed. It was supposed to begin on April the 9th. The Boston Marathon has been pushed back until September 14th. And also today, IndyCar racing suspended through April, a total of 4 races. Iona basketball coach Tim Cluse is part of the
treatment. If you or a loved one has cancer, you need nothing less than cutting-edge research, innovative therapies, and clinical trials. You need more than a cancer center. You need a comprehensive cancer center designated by the National Cancer Institute.
I've got cancer, but I've also got researchers working together to find a cure.
There's only one based in New Jersey. Rutgers Cancer Institute of New Jersey in partnership with RWJ Barnabas Health.
I've got cancer, but with comprehensive care, I've also got hope.
Learn more at rwjbh.org/beatcancer. RWJ Barnabas Health and Rutgers Cancer Institute of New Jersey. Let's beat cancer together.
You're never more than 15 minutes from the big stories on WCBS.
Good Friday afternoon. I'm Steve Scott. Here are 3 things to know at 4:15. Number 1, President Trump has declared a national emergency over the coronavirus outbreak, opening up access to $50 billion in aid to states battling the virus. Number 2, New York now has more COVID-19 cases than any other state in the country. 421 confirmed in New York. Governor Cuomo has opened a drive-through testing center in New Rochelle that can serve up to 200 people a day. And 3, over 24 health professionals are calling on Mayor de Blasio to close the city's public schools in an effort to try to contain the virus. Here's WCBS reporter Marla Diamond.
Parents bringing their children to PS 163 were torn. Ron Soleil understands the schools are a safe haven for many.
I think the reason to close the schools is because transmitting it to parents, not all parents are young either. I'm, pushing 60 myself. And so, there is a danger that it will spread through the children.
The mayor is determined to keep public schools open, but a group of 36 infectious disease specialists have written him a letter.
We're telling them that in our view, schools should be closing now.
Dr. Paul Binaz is a professor of virology at Rockefeller University.
The real goal here is to reduce the extremely rapid spread that can potentially occur in densely populated cities.
Just disinfecting the school, says the doctor, is not enough. On the Upper West Side, Marla Diamond, WCBS News Radio 880.
For now, at least, New York City public schools will remain open during the coronavirus outbreak. Mayor de Blasio says the decision to close public schools will be done on a by-case basis. Several suburban schools have already been closed as a precaution. The governor says schools must close if a child tests positive for the virus.
Our guidance is this: if you have a child who tests positive in your school, the school must close for 24 hours so we can disinfect the entire school. And then during that 24-hour period, we will talk to that local school district, find out the facts and circumstances, and make a decision.
New Dorp High School on Staten Island has closed after a student there tested positive for coronavirus. Another public school, Brooklyn College Academy, closed because of a self-reported case of COVID-19. Brooklyn Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio says parishioners will not be obligated to attend Sunday Mass. Masses will still be celebrated, but the diocese will comply with the state's ban on gatherings of more than 500 people. New York's Archdiocese is urging parishioners to use their judgment on whether or not they should attend Mass, especially people over 60 and those with medical conditions. The Brooklyn Diocese will also close all Catholic schools in Brooklyn and Queens next week. The Archdiocese of New York announced yesterday that it was closing all of its elementary schools in an effort to stop the spread of coronavirus. WCBS News Time 4:18, traffic and weather together on the 8th is sponsored by Stony Brook Medicine. Here's Jim Feldman.
I received two issues on the southbound side of the Garden State Parkway. One is before exit 153 for Route 3. That is a broken down vehicle in the center lane. And then beyond that, by the Essex tolls, that is an accident. That is the left lane that is blocked. So suffice to say, you've got delays on the Parkway going all the way back almost into Paramus right now. Delays on Route 46 on the westbound side, right by Lower Notch Road in Little Falls. There is an accident there. Westbound on 280, still have a crash right by the Stickle Drawbridge in the right lane. Better news on the northbound Parkway in the express lanes by 125. That accident investigation and also the emergency maintenance, everything has been cleared away. Westbound Route 22 at Hillside by Hillside Avenue, that is an accident, and the right lane is still shut with that. Connecticut delays pretty much non-existent from Greenwich up through Fairfield to 995. A little slow getting into Bridgeport Mare Parkway, though. A nice ride from Greenwich up into Trumbull. If you're on Long Island, some trouble on the westbound side of the southern states. You've got a crash by the Secret Ocean Bay Expressway, and then another one westbound by exit 19 for Peninsula Boulevard. At Stony Brook University Hospital, patient outcome is best according to health grades. That's why Stony Brook was named one of America's 100 best hospitals.
Shut your damn engine off. Billy never idles, so why should you? Shut it off. Learn more at billyneveridles.nyc.
They say work now, play later. With more affordable Mercedes-Benz models than ever before, we say why not live now? The spring event is here. Go to mbusa.com/spring event to learn more about limited time offers or visit your local Tri-State Mercedes-Benz dealer.
If your ideas challenge the status quo, if you thrive in the 11th hour, if you have advised people you had no right advising, prepare for your next departure. Virgin Atlantic to London. Business is an adventure. Let it fly. The US Open returns to iconic Wingfoot Golf Club June 15th through the 21st. Be here where the battle is won. Limited tickets available. Get yours while they last at usopen.com.
Attention entrepreneurs, Amazon is looking for business leaders who want to build their own package delivery companies. If you're passionate about hiring and coaching great teams, this might be for you. With built-in demand, access to Amazon's technology and experience, and a suite of discounts on assets and services, this is a chance to build and grow a logistics business in your community. Be part of a fast-growing industry by partnering with Earth's most customer-centric company. Must meet additional requirements. Visit logistics.amazon.com.
Town Fair Tire, Connecticut's largest discount tire dealer. Because we give you the guaranteed lowest price and we honor every manufacturer's rebate. We even honor all our competitors' rebates. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Family is big around here. We're family-owned, family-operated, family-managed. And that means legacy. That means dependability. That means using Grainger. With over 1.5 million products and knowledgeable product experts, Grainger has whatever we need. And with same-day pickup and next-day delivery options, they have it whenever we need it. For over 90 years, businesses like ours have trusted Grainger. Because, like family, Grainger's got our back. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Sports Hour.
Fans, we're talking all the time, most heartbreaking moments. You're on.
Jack, I sent my husband to get an Epson EcoTape printer and he...
Your high school WCBS News Radio 880.
WCBS News Time 4:22. Time to check small business. Here is Joe Connolly.
A Connecticut business that provides services to offices in Fairfield County has had to lay off about 20 of its 100 employees because business is down more than 50% because so many businesses' employees are working from home. A New Jersey business services firm owner had to have some layoffs because so many events are being canceled. Everyone at a professional services firm is working from home now. The owner says business has not been affected much yet, but he expects a downturn, maybe a significant one. Some businesses are rotating groups of employees working from home to reduce density at the office. And when this period ends, which Dr. Fauci hopes will be several weeks to a couple of months from now, business owners may start getting more requests to work from home sometimes. I'm Joe Connolly for Bloomberg and WCBS News Radio 880.
Hey, New York, for the most gaming and excitement close to home, come play, dine, and unwind at Resorts World Casino in Queens. Come play. We have over 6,500 of your favorite games, like Wheel of Fortune, Five Treasures, Quick Hits, and Big Six Wheel. Plus, electronic baccarat, blackjack, roulette, and craps. 6,500 games. And dine. Choose from 7 eateries, from our fun food court to elegant dining in RW Prime Steakhouse and Wine Bar. Then unwind with free nightly entertainment at Bar 360, featuring theme nights all week and a great club experience on weekends. Plus, all the sports action on the largest screen around.
Resorts World Casino in Queens, near JFK with free parking. Or take the A train, Q37 bus, or our casino shuttles. Resorts World Casino, New York City.
Come play, dine, and unwind. Must be 18 years of age or older to play the New York Lottery games. Please play responsibly.
My dog Mojo was half beagle and half coonhound. He ate everything in sight. He would swallow things whole, including a chicken carcass, a bird nest with a bird in it, and assorted stones and sticks. We had to take him to the veterinary emergency room. After surgery, Mojo had skin issues. He was constantly itching and scratching, chewing on his feet, and chewing the hair right off of his legs, being irritated, lethargic, and just not the same dog. DINOVITE.com. When we put him on the Dinovite, he took right to it. All of these...
Help protect your family wealth for generations. Visit BERDONLLP.com. Burden Accountants and Advisors. Choose the life you want and let Burden help you get there. I'm Greg Rice with the SupplyHouse.com Fan Highway Patrol.
Windows can be beautiful, functional, and sometimes complex. Let the window installation experts at WindowRama help simplify the process. WindowRama features 20-plus showrooms across the tri-state areas, and there's sure to be one near you. The experts have the knowledge to help you find the perfect products for your home, like quality Andersen 400 series windows and doors. Learn more about replacement with WindowRama and Andersen by requesting your free in-home estimate at WindowRama.com. That's WindowRama.com. And we had a lot, I have a lot of questions for Michael Lombardi. Obviously, NFL free agency is supposedly going to start in a couple of days. But one of the things I am curious about, because I want to be fair when I say, and I know you agree with me, Joe, when I say NFL free agency should go on as scheduled, that there isn't enough issues that would cause it to stop. Like real life issues that would cause it to stop.
No,
because, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, this idea that it doesn't look good to me is nonsense. I mean, it's not like you're putting 50,000 people in a stadium. You know, it can be done by phone. I understand there's physicals involved, and, you know, we've heard of guys camping out, Rex Ryan with Bart Scott camping out outside his house, and, you know, guys don't let the guy leave the building when he goes there for free agency and all of that, but, I mean, there's no reason that shouldn't go on.
No, and I agree with you, and I like Mike Florio. We have him on, but he wrote an opinion piece on Pro Football Talk how